Hey everyone. On Saturday, I played in the Duelist World Championship qualifier. Apparently, they're bi-monthly, and they give you a chance to qualify for the World Championships, which I think are happening in early 2017, I believe. I believe there's 11 more spots now that 5 people have qualified. So you basically need to choose 2 decks for the first day, and I didn't make the second day. I went 3-3. I dropped after my third loss because that knocked me out of contention. And the first deck I chose was the Faie Crystal Wisp deck that I had seen in a video with a couple different tech choices. I chose to go, instead of playing Archons, I went with Grove Keepers and Bone Reapers. And I really like the Grove Keepers, and I think they're a good choice because Argion is so popular. And that's really what they're best against, is Argion right now. And I don't necessarily think I needed two, because they are not great against most other decks, unless there's like a stray Mercantor that survived a turn, but even then you're not getting the greatest value. So I think that maybe just one of those would be better. And the Zenruis came down a little bit slow, even with the acceleration. They're really good against Shadow Sister. I didn't see as many Lantern Foxes, which is the other card they were historically really, really good against. And even with the acceleration, I just didn't feel like they came down in time for me to reliably steal something. So I think I would cut those down to maybe one, and then maybe cut the Spelljammers and put in some more 3-drops, because I have very few 3-drops, and I feel like that is a mistake, because on going first, even if you play a Crystal Wisp, it usually doesn't get killed, so you do have that turn with 3 mana, and I think that having more 3-drops would be beneficial. And on as player 2, when you're getting 4 mana, you can usually skip right to 5 and maybe deploy a Dancing Blades. And I just didn't really feel like, I felt like I had not enough 3s. I do have a ton of 2-drops, or 2 mana spells, because I play the 6 removal spells. And I play, Hurt Sister generally isn't something you want to play early. This is definitely the MVP. Hurt Sister is definitely the MVP of this deck, because it allows so many things with getting a minion close to finish off your opponent, and swapping them in so they'll get hit by your Bloodborne spell, and just really screwing up your opponent's positioning for something like Dancing Blades and things like that. So you can really do a lot of different things with it, and I was really, really happy with those. And I think learning how to use those is probably the key to a lot of Fae decks, and something that I need to improve on as well. So I think this was a pretty good choice, but I think some of my tech choices might have been a little bit overdone. I might have got a little too cute with some of those. My next deck was just the Keeper Vaath deck, and this is very similar to Cybern's list, but I put in a third Plasma Storm instead of a Diatide Frenzy. I thought, like I said, Argion would be really popular, and Plasma Storm's just really good right now. It kills most minions that are played, and the things that it doesn't kill, Mercantor's pretty good at cleaning up, so it gives you a lot of options in terms of just removing enemy boards. And I was pretty happy with this deck. It is a little bit inconsistent because you do have to skip your first turn a lot of the time, unless you get something like unless you get the Young Silithar or Flash into Sunsteel, you're usually skipping your first turn. And that can mean you get blown out sometimes if you don't get to the Plasma Storm or don't have a Flash Mercantor or something like that. So it's a little bit inconsistent, but I was playing against players that I thought would be better than me for the most part, and I thought getting some free wins off just, crazy Keeper of the Veil value, summoning, Mercantors or Eludicators or just something crazy, would be steal me a couple games, and maybe that would allow me to win games against players who probably have an edge if I were to play them in a kind of a straight-up skill-intensive matchup. So those are my 2 decks, and I wasn't unhappy with them. I definitely think there are a couple changes I could have made to the first deck, and maybe had I picked just a more standard mid-range Vaath and tried to, play more straight up, I would have had a little more success. But I'm going to show a couple games that I played against some of the players and kind of go through my thoughts and what I could have done better.